the YouTube page here. All right, this meeting is being live streamed just like that. We are live. Welcome, everybody, to the second edition of the Legends of Hashish podcast. I am your host, BC Bubbleman, also known as Bubbleman, also known as Market. Just make sure that I make this private. For whatever reason, it's coming out private when I first open it. Nice when things are just, not easy. They're difficult, but that's okay. I'll get to it. Let's see if it changes. Yep, it's now not private. So I can just quickly share the link with the folks that are in the original page on YouTube. I'll wait for Addison to come in. And I guess what we'll do, because it's now 4:20, we'll put that on there. On here for 800-pound man for himself. And we'll have a little 420 rip. Please, everybody, join us for the start of the podcast here. Welcome, Addy.
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
I'm about to rip some honey bananas.
Ooh, one of my faves. I should take a dab. I'm just gonna hit my Carta because it's so much easier. Hear from the desk.
No problem. I got mine nearby as well.
You know what? I have a rig. Look at this.
Oh, I like that. That is really nice.
Such a J-Mass what? And,
who made it?
The J-Mass.
Okay. Well, she's a beauty. She's a beauty.
She's a beauty. So how you been, bud? Everything good?
Yeah, everything's good. Just looking forward to another day on the podcast here. We got a bunch of people in the chat room right now. About 48 people are watching so far. Bingo Lombardi's in the house. John Maddox, Clockwork Orange, PA Terpaholic, Aaron S. Dan Heaton. Here's my buddy Dan.
They got any questions?
Oh, I'm sure there'll be some questions. We're just, we wanted to keep some consistency. We started this podcast last week with Skunkman Sam and Robert Clark. And, Addison was kind of like, hey, let's keep it up. Let's do it again. We didn't really organize a guest, but we thought, well, you know what? We're guests. We can be guests and hosts at the same time. We can be whatever we want to be. All we have to do is say, I identify as a guest, and now I'm a guest.
Project being a guest, and that's it.
Into the future.
See, that's all it takes. It's so easy. No, because the other thing, we have a guest for next week, which is the guys from Quality Switches. So we do have a guest for next week.
Yes, exactly. And I made a list. There's some great guests that we're going to bring on, but we're taking this mellow. Addison's been working his fingers to the bone trying to organize Legends of Hash for this year, December 2nd and 3rd in Los Angeles. Plus, we've got all sorts of other sort of pseudo sub things of Legends that are going on, plus this podcast. And then myself, I am doing a whole bunch of different things. I've got my lab in Delta that I'm constantly trying to find business for. So if you're in the Canadian regulatory framework and you're looking for processing, hit me up. And then all sorts of consulting and equipment sales and on and on and on it goes. You got to hustle in this day and age if you want to stay alive. So alive, we are staying.
We do some consulting together. We got some stuff. So yeah, you got to stay alive. It's the only way to stay alive. I think it's to like diversify, but use all the skill sets that you have in cannabis to your best, to suit yourself best. And then just, you got to make money, man. It's a good thing.
Yeah, I think like everything, not just money, but even like just life got so fucking weird during and since COVID came out. It really altered reality in a big way. Some people more than others, some people got really altered by it. If you were kind of on the lower spectrum of life, and people that are extremely wealthy may have gotten affected by it a lot less, but there's an enormous amount of people that I don't know. I feel like 5, 6 years ago when I was just doing my YouTube channel and it was, everything's shadow banned now. I don't get a single extra subscriber on my Instagram account, which it took me 5 years to go from 129,000 to 130,000, just completely shadow banned the entire time. And it just went down to 129 the other day. Like it just dropped.
Oh,
like,
so weird.
Yeah, so it's hard on well, it's not weird. It's a specific anti-cannabis agenda that's been very strong, since the beginning, really. I mean, listen, it was the pages that allowed us to do this. It was cannabis.com, cannabisworld.com, overgrow.com, cannabisculture.com. These pages in the late 90s were really some of the first, prior to that, okay, High Times Magazine, we were all on High Times Magazine. It was one centralized place. And the groups opened that up. It sort of opened it up for us to be able to, it's kind of a neat history when you really think of it, because it's that very history that led into Legends even becoming an event, or existing. It had to follow that whole, these pages came out and then they were like, oh, High Times, done. It's not going to, they're not going to survive it, because everyone was just sharing the information. And there were people writing articles on overgrow.com that were as well written as some of the people writing articles for High Times at the time. Like actual writers. Pete Brady comes to mind. That guy had a good writing style. He was definitely not just, someone that just put words down. He wrote an article. And so when you started seeing that on Overgrow and all these different people, it's how I became Bubble Man. It's how, a lot of people in the industry sort of became the names of their character that they randomly chose to be. Late 90s, because they wanted to. Yeah, what a crazy time though. Late 90s, totally illegal everywhere. Like, let's go on a computer that can see your web address and find out where you live and share pictures of all of our cannabis. It was a really wild time. It was pretty my first customer was High Grade. I don't know if anyone remembers High Grade. He had the bucket system, the bubbler bucket system, the 5-gallon do-it-yourself at-home system. And he actually ended up getting arrested and going to jail. And I ended up sending him little bits of money and magazines and stuff. I remember having to like tear the covers off the front of the magazine, because when you send magazines to jail, they're not allowed to have the cover on them for whatever reason. And I don't know why that was, but just an interesting time back in the day. Big up AK Drone Pics.
Yeah. Old school prison stories.
Yeah, well, he didn't do too long, but he was one of the first people. He didn't get busted because he was online. I think he had real world troubles that brought down his grow. And I remember how many of us there were on those pages, and I didn't know very many people at all who got busted because they were on those pages. I think the cops were too lazy to really deal with it.
Just being like so.
I guess so.
But then being
I mean, listen, back in the day when my customers would call me and say, oh, I got busted, my grow got busted, they'd always tell me these stories of like, but I came home and my bubble bags were there. They took everything but my bubble bags. One guy got arrested, had to go be processed, got out like a day or two later, came home. He said he was in the middle of making bubble when they kicked the door down, and his bucket was still there with the bags, all the water, everything just sitting there. And he was kind of like, oh, it must be ruined. But he just finished mixing it and pulled the bags and literally made the hash that he was making while he got imagine a batch of hash that you start making before you're busted. You get busted while making it, and then you get out and you finish the batch of hash.
That's the gift of hash. You can pay for your lawyer and just make it all go away. That's the thing.
That is the gift of hash, my friend. I do love it. It's all brought us together here today. We got 75 people watching in the stream right now. This is a podcast, although we're filming it on YouTube and recording it like this. It'll be available on Google and Spotify. It's under the podcast name is Legends of Hashish Podcast. So check it out wherever podcasts are streamed. You'll find us. I went through the whole. I think I added us to 15 different ones.
Oh, nice. That's where we belong.
Yeah, they make it easy.
At least 15.
Exactly.
So what, I was going to ask you a question. Can you explain for everyone today why you won't be at Legends this year?
Why I won't be at Legends this year? Well, I haven't gone to the US since 1998. And last time I went was when I picked up Slinger and Jason Lee accidentally hitchhiking on the side of the road on my way to see Fitz at the Gourd. And that was kind of, prior to that, I had tried to go across the border several times. Before that, the time before that I got across would have been 95. I went and saw Fish in Missoula, Montana, and Spokane, and a bunch of other shows. In 94, I went to the East Coast and I saw them at UMass. I saw them at Glens Falls, which was the Halloween show where they did the White Album. So there was 2 or 3 times that Fist brought me down over the border. That was really my interest. I had tried to go see the Dead a bunch of times and got denied, like every time. Ended up like having to give my tickets away, mail order, beautiful, fancy, sparkly tickets. But yeah, I haven't gone since 98. I found it to be so intensely serious. Every time I was there, I literally was, when they were like, oh, we see you got caught with a roach, like when you were 17 or 19 or whatever in your Volkswagen van. And it's just been on that record forever. So it's like, until cannabis is normalized and until I'm not treated like I'm trafficking in child organs for having a roach in my van, the energy was so intense. And I had that energy multiple times at the border, never really got in trouble, never, was not being nefarious, wasn't smuggling, wasn't like trying to cause problems, was definitely not a threat to America as a whole. But for whatever reason, they just love to say, no, you can't come up. So I stopped trying at the end of 98. I completely stopped trying, and I haven't tried for 25 years to go down to the US. So that is most likely the reason why I won't be at Legends. But you never know. Like, I am going to end up in the US one day. I don't think I'll die and just never have gone to the US again. I mean, I have never been to California. How crazy is that?
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that is actually
just,
really I didn't know that. Okay. Well,
yeah, but I've affected California. I've had my fingerprint is in California, in the sense of like, no state has bought more bubble bags than California over the years. New York's not too far behind, but Cali is definitely, I've always just called it like the center of the cannabis universe. It's just like, you can follow almost everything back to Cali. And I get that, of course, there's this huge hash culture that goes way beyond Cali and whatnot, but Cali just seemed to be, the group of people that were going to hold the torch and take the torch, and continue on with all of the people that were growing cannabis in these different countries to produce hashish, to sort of ship it out around the world. A lot of cool people from New York and the East Coast, big hash smokers, moved to California. So when I say Cali, it's not like born and bred people from Cali. It's just really the state. It has a pull, much like British Columbia. It pulls these like-minded individuals. Very few people are born in Vancouver from Vancouver.
The climate and the environment for growing cannabis is perfect in California. So I think that has a lot to do with it. You can get all the seasons and still grow, use supplemental light, use tarps, run depths, run whatever, and just pull harvests. Mm-hmm. And it's like back to back, you can do it all year. So I think it's one of those things that really makes it possible to be one of those places. And I think once cannabis becomes nationally legal, California will be like the largest production state for cannabis, in large greenhouses and stuff like that, because it's just perfect environment for it. You can grow all year long. And then you could sell the fact that it comes from the Emerald Triangle, or, it has that sellability as well.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think, that the one thing Cali is sort of missing, the only thing really is water. to grow that much cannabis. You know, like it always seems to be there's like water issues. And, you know, in Jamaica, for instance, they always said the best sense is in the West. You know, it's like go to the West, the Westmoreland, the Negril. And it was true. There was great cannabis that grew there, but not because it was the best, but because it was the furthest place on the island away from like the police and the army. Like that was as far as you could be from Kingston. So, it's, you know, later on they were like, we have the best soil, we have the best this, we have the best that. But really the whole reason it started was that outlaws moved there and grew weed that just wanted to stay off the radar. So I don't think you're wrong. I think Cali probably will be what you say it is, if it's really not already in a sense. But I think that there are new players on the board that could play a very important part that have never played an important role because of prohibition. So we may see new places that cannabis gets planted and expresses itself in just the most, you know, incredible way. You know, the other thing that is working against California is the sheer amount of pesticides and herbicides that get sprayed and dumped into the water system and the soil and the biome. I mean, my God, it's like the Salinas Valley is so completely saturated with glyphosate and avid and all these different, you know, avocado farmers spraying from fucking planes. Like, oh my God, dude.
Yeah, no. But just, you know, speaking towards like there being a lot of different talented people in different places in cannabis, Legends this year, it's crazy because there are like a bunch of makers I see now from Oklahoma, New Mexico, Colorado, Arizona, California. There's a bunch from Maine, Massachusetts, New Hampshire. There's just so many different makers from all over the place, and they're all talented. So that's what's cool about, like, you know, that's another sign that you can see is that like a lot of hash makers for solventless are kind of popping up with that are all, you know, sharing genetics, or some of them are going to the same places to get stuff, but you can tell that it's definitely kind of nice to sort of see that happen a lot more than, you know, California is easy to just kind of sit here and just fuck with makers from here, but it's nice to see, like, I don't know, St. Louis, just things that like I'd never seen before, you know. So
shout out to my partner Ted in Missouri for mentioning St. Louis. And someone just in the chat room was like, you know, and now the state is seemingly pushing all of the OGs and small business out of the state and to places like Missouri and Oklahoma. And I absolutely do know people in both those places who are, you know, displaced out of Cali that just have this knowledge. You know, look at best friend Brian, best friend Farms. You know, he's out in Maine. He spent tons of time in Cali learning his trade.
Same thing with Corey, who left California, went to Oklahoma.
Right. Right. Well, shout out to the Divine Collective as well in Oklahoma, the group I've been chatting with recently. They sell a lot of hash, apparently. So here's to them.
Nice. Cheers to you guys. Shout out to Jeezy for doing Legends. He likes hash. It's a good thing.
Yeah. You know, I met him some years ago. I got it. It might have been 20 years ago for all I know. Holy fuck.
Yeah, can you tell? I can't even remember. Can you tell that story about how I was surprised, I was surprised to find out that you guys knew each other. So that's why I thought it was fun.
I'm all over the place, and so is he. But how we met was this. I used to share booths at the Cannabis Cup with a good friend of mine, Martin Bizzle, and he is the owner of Roer, the bong company.
Yep.
Not to be confused with his old partner, Richard, who also owns Sheldon Black. He was kind of Roer Tech or US Roer. So this is Martin from Germany, Frankenthal, in fact, a place that I went to. And how I got there was, you know, I've always known lots of glass blowers. So it was no huge surprise that somehow Martin and I even gravitated towards one another. But even before that, I mean, in '98, I accidentally picked up Slinger and Jason Lee hitchhiking. Like, just think of how crazy that is. And then became very good friends with Slinger. you know, to the point where I invited him up to Canada. He moved here. He used to live just a couple doors down from where I'm sitting right now and blow glass right in the garage. And then he ended up moving into the city with his studio anyway, and moving in with Hippo Glass and Rat Dog at the time, who became Cool Liquid, Brian Ratcliffe. Shout out to all of those guys. And so, you know, I don't know why I've always gravitated towards glass blowers. And it might have been that hitchhiking, you know, I had owned a Hue Grass. You know, I bought my first Hue Grass in like '94. That was like one of Snotty's early apprentices in the early to mid '90s, where this guy Hugh was one of the blowers under Snodgrass. And so he did these nice little pipes. And I brought that pipe in '95 to the Amsterdam Cannabis Cup, ended up having to sell it because some guy was such a huge collector and I didn't really understand it. But as I let that pipe go, which I still to this day wish I didn't, I met Slinger at that Cannabis Cup. Now, I only knew him as Aaron, and I had no idea that he would become Slinger. And in fact, when I picked him up hitchhiking 3 years later, it took us about 6 months to realize we had met 3 years earlier. And the only reason we realized it was because when I met him in '98, he said to me, "I think you know my roommate, Zach." And he started going on about this guy, Zach. He's like, "Yeah, apparently you met him on Fish Tour." And I was like, "Dude, I don't go to Fish as often as you guys. I got like 40 shows under my belt. You got 400. I doubt that I met your buddy." But in fact, his roommate was this kid, Zach, that I met in Missoula, Montana in '95. I watched the police smash all his glass down the sewer, like put his glass on a sewer and then make him step on it till the pieces fell through he was so bummed. He was with his buddy Huck. And I fucking came up to them and said, "Dude, I'm from Winnipeg. We're fucking growing hemp. We got glass. I got a hemp store. We're doing all this shit. Fucking follow me." So him and his buddy Huck are like, "Fuck it, we're moving to Winnipeg." And they follow me in this Missoula, Montana snowstorm, and I lose them. And this is before cell phones and before all of this shit. So he's gone. I'm never gonna see this guy again. He really felt like a brother from another mother. So when I accidentally picked up Slinger and Jason Lee hitchhiking, and then that led back to Zach, and then it led into, oh, my buddy bought all these Herbert Arnold torches, which are made not far from Frankenthal, Germany, where I would end up going to Germany. So it was this building thing of meeting all these guys. And finally, when I met Martin, I said, "You know, I want to put you together with these guys. You know, I think you could do really good collaborations with US artists." It was Mike Frost was the first US artist. I had nothing to do with that, but he went on his own, linked up with Martin. They did 5 tubes. I, in fact, own number 1 of 5 that him and Fro, the first color pull that Martin ever did as a glass blower. I own that pipe. It's in my house here. And so I said, I want to bring some glass blowers. And at the time, of course, my curator of glass blowers was Slinger. He could hook me up with anyone. This guy was so respected in the world of glass through artists. He says to me, "Yeah, why don't you bring out like Nate Dizzle? He's got these really cool Swiss perks that he does with the holes in it. And what about Steve Hops? Because he's doing the inline." They both created their own unique type of filtration. And if you brought that to Ruhr and they each did an inline and a Dizzle Swiss perk, so I was like, all right, I'll do it. So I link up with these guys. Slinger introduces me to them. I invite them. I haven't ever met them in person. I invite them to come to Germany, and I'll meet them at the airport in Holland. And I've got my manufacturer's son of bubble bags, Mark Rose. His son, Mark Christopher, lives in Germany. So he's going to drive to Amsterdam, to Schiphol, and drive us to Germany. So we're in his van. It's going to be gravy. We get to the airport. I have a hard time finding these guys. I end up finding Hops. I end up finding Dizzle. Dizzle's with them. You know, GZ1, like, I know him as Prob. He's there. I'm meeting him. I think he was with Hops, because Dizzle came from like Portland and Hops came from the East Coast, which is where he is. So I'm pretty sure he came with Hops. He was just at the airport. I had no idea who he was. I was like, okay, fucking cool, man. Well, this is my buddy, Mark Christopher. He's going to be driving us to Germany. Mark Christopher's like, I'm so sorry. I have some important things that have come up, and I will not be able to drive you to Germany. But here are the keys to my van. You take it. and I have to go now. And so he buggers off, and I'm at the fucking airport in Schiphol. I haven't driven all around Europe. It's a pain in the ass, trust me. None of the fucking English, nothing's in English. It's all in other languages. There's just borders and shit. These are countries that you're leaving, right? This isn't like state to state. You're going through borders as you leave Holland and go into Germany. And so, of course, we've got, hash and pipes.
With hash.
We're puffing. We're puffing all the way there. I'm driving. I've got everything set up. He set me up with the GPS, which was amazing because they had GPS back then. We didn't in North America like they did in Europe. But he set me up on the GPS. But I'll tell you, dude, halfway through that trip, someone pushed and touched something and turned the GPS back to German. And that last part of that trip, I don't know if you've ever driven into some of these small little places in Germany, but they're insane. Like I urge you to go onto Google Maps and like go look up Frankenthal, where the Ruhr factory is. And it's just like all of these like insane roads and little moats, rivery things. And it's just absolutely mental. So I show up, I got Steve Hops, I got Nate Dizzle, I got GZ1, and they start blowing glass. I have photos actually. Like I wish I had them. Like I didn't know we would talk about this, but I have some great photos of this very thing. Like that, them blowing at the Ruhr factory in Frankenthal. And they made some beautiful pipes, and my buddy Flav 421, I think, bought most of them. So they're just across the way on the Sunshine Coast. I'm here in Lions Bay, and just across the Pacific Ocean, a very short ferry ride away is Flav. And we've got those Ruhr pipes. So it was really quite an amazing trip. We did end up going back to Amsterdam afterwards, and I loved Nate and I loved Steve, but me and GZ1, like we were like click, just like spent some great time in Amsterdam, got into all sorts of crazy shit, had some adventures, and smoked, of course, an enormous amount of hash. So yeah, that's how that kind of played out.
Yeah, he said he credited you for like making him fall in love with water hash and stuff.
Yeah, well, he loved glass. He was already there, right? Like he was already halfway there. He loved glass. Well, it's like, dude, here's the thing. There's nothing better to put into glass than this. And he was a firm believer from the beginning. How could he not be?
Oh yeah. No, he's just such a just a creative person. Very like on his own wavelength, doing his own thing. Very unique. And it's like I like that about it too, because the stuff is like very.
I appreciate him. Well, he told me, when he met me, he was like, "I'm you on the East Coast. I'm like Slinger's best bud." Because when Slinger was out here, I was like, that was like my bro. That was like my tightest friend that I would like, do anything for, help out, see every day, smoke tons of hash with, and so that's kind of how we met. It was really the sort of Slinger putting us together in that sense, curating the whole thing. So shout out to Marble Slinger, a true artist.
Yeah. A good man indeed. Oh yeah. What do you got? You said you got a busy day today. You got some other stuff?
I am going to go and try and do a parent-teacher meeting with my son, who started a new school. He's no longer in the small school that's in my village. He's graduated from it. Now he's going to a bigger school. And of course, my son is like a little mini version of me. It took me 3 kids. My daughter, very much like me. My firstborn son, very much like my wife. Then I hit on the 3rd, I got the boy who's very much like me. Because it's different when your daughter's very much like you. It's cool and it's neat, but it's not, trust me, like when you hit and have a kid who's like your like clone, it's a trip, dude. Because I didn't have that for the first 2 kids, which, no problem. I love all my kids equally. But man, when you get one that's like your little clone and just doing all the shit that you did in the same way that you did it, it is a very neat way to remember your childhood.
Interesting way to digest that kind of those memories as a child. Yeah. No, that's funny. My daughter is younger, but she's more like me, and my son's older, but he's a little more like his mom. He's like got a little more of like her personality.
Yeah. It seems to go like that for a lot of people with the first 2. Daughters also often have like their dad's faces. They look so much like their dad.
I think it's so that we'll like them more and like pay attention to them. It's like an animal. It's an animal thing.
For sure. I'm definitely thinking that there is. It's the greatest thing ever. Yes, Bingo Lombardi Hayes is the middle name of my firstborn son, Tosh. He is the Tosh Hayes. Bubble Man and the Bubble Kids.
Bubble Kids. It's so weird being like, kids of people in cannabis. It's got to be, odd. My son comes to my house and there's so much hash, and he's just like, oh my God. And then he just smokes all this hash and like, just has the best time. So it's kind of like, when I watch him, I'll give him like, people will give me different pods and just different things, stuff that I'll try or something, but it's not really my cup of tea. So edibles, different stuff like that.
Yeah.
So whenever he comes by, he gets like, because he's 18, it's legal for him to have it. So it's just kind of like, all right, here, try this. And so he just gets hooked up. Like, crazy as shit. So yeah. Right.
My son does not use cannabis at all. Never has. Hasn't even tried it. My daughter, though, works at a dispensary, Happy Isle dispensary here in Horseshoe Bay. And she's gotten into it more. I don't think she's a big user. I think she's maybe smoked some joints in her life, maybe eaten some edibles and hit a vape pen. I don't know exactly. I have never smoked with any of my kids. So
yeah,
one of the things, being the bubble man, you make it too you make something look too not cool. They were definitely like, my daughter was mortified that I was bubble man.
Yeah, the kids are gonna be that.
What's that?
Dad.
That's it. It's hilarious.
Like, I don't know if if my son was at Legends or something, just because there's so much hash and there's so much being consumed. I'm like, I don't know if he'd be able to hang. I'm not sure if he'd enjoy himself. You can always get refreshments and kind of
Most people wouldn't enjoy themselves, I think, is the truth. Like, most people wouldn't enjoy themselves.
I think people now are kind of going and understanding that they can collect hash, the hash bar, and build like a nice little stash and have like a nice thing like that. Because this year it's just interacting with the people that are on the guest list that are coming in. You can tell that they've got an understanding of what it is. It's not like a blind. They're like, oh, I know I can go get great food. There's a bunch of great makers there. I could build a nice head stash. The Turf Wars movie. So kind of adding all this other stuff to it. But yeah,
I'll tell you, people used to come to Legends because they just wanted to go to Legends. It's somehow without trying in any way, shape, or form. I was not trying to make it the ticket to be wanted. I wanted 50 people who loved hashish to gather for an evening and enjoy food and hash. That's what I wanted. That was as simple as what it was. But what it turned into after just a couple years was like this private party that you couldn't get a ticket to. It was the hardest ticket to get. And it was like, oh man, like, don't start saying that. People will want it without knowing why. I think it was Debbie Goldsberry who left the party one day and told me, she was like, yeah, I'm sorry. I did not need to be here. Like, this was, I took a ticket that was unnecessarily, like, she admitted that I just fell into this. Like, I wanted to be here because it seemed like the place to be, but she was like, this is fucking ridiculous. Like, this is for a very small percentage of people.
Yeah. It really is. If you're going to geek out and really enjoy it, it is. But I think now, adding the brunch, which is a great, spread of food and well put together menu of food and from a great catering service and a good company. So it's in a good atmosphere. There's great places to sit. And you check all the boxes and make it where, like, okay, I just ate. I'm gonna go take some more dabs, talk to these guys. Oh, I'll meet a new friend. Oh, the Water Boys are gonna perform, or the movie. So it's kind of just has these different things that sort of like make it more interactive this year too, to kind of get people, I think, like.
Well, it's evolved.
Yeah, a little bit. You gotta,
a lot.
Yeah.
It's evolved a lot. It used to just be only about hash, and now it's like, look, like, we love hash, but let's like do all these other things we love while we're loving the hash. Like, let's have art and let's have different companies bringing cool new things to the table. Let's have great food. Let's have fresh cut fruit. Let's have lattes with like cool logos on top. Like all of these little things, they just make it a nice experience. Yeah, it's cool. And I'll tell you, if I can be there, I will.
Oh, we'd love to have you, man. It'd be fun. Definitely be. This year has got a lot more attention to like, the space itself and how we're going to use the space. And I think we'll be like the last tenant that they have at the space. Their lease runs out the next month, so I don't know if they're going to renew the lease. So it's kind of cool.
How many square feet is it?
It's a pretty big one. I'm not positive. I don't know off the top of my head, but it's pretty big.
Big though. Yeah, no, I had a friend reach out that I've been helping consulting for his company down in San Francisco. It's called Alaf, I guess you pronounce it. I've never really known how it's pronounced, but he's like a staff, got these SOPs, got himself a building, about 2,000 square foot, thin building in San Francisco. And he hit me up the other day. He's like, look, I'm in between construction right now. It's going to be like 3 months or something. He's like, if you want to do an event in San Francisco, like I've got a building. So he was offering that, and I just thought that was pretty cool. I'm sure the more we do things like this and have public discourse and conversations, people will reach out to us at the info@legendsofhashish.com, which is definitely the email you want to reach out to if you have any questions about Legends. It would be good to put like the Legends, like all it is like the deck or all the information on the website so that they could go and just look at it there, I always feel bad giving out the email, and then I see the emails coming in. I'm like, oof, I got 9 other emails over here, and I can't even answer most of these. So I feel bad for you.
No, you gotta DM me. No, that's the website's great because we can add different stuff to it as well, which is nice. We're actually redoing the website. I think in a couple hours it'll be live, brand new, with all the new colorways. With this year's, we're gonna show in a couple hours. We'll pop up with this year's new Legends poster design. Will be on there. The one that I sent you. That'll be up
will that be the first release? We haven't shared that yet, right? That hasn't been shared anywhere.
Yeah. We'll post it. We'll all post it tomorrow on Instagram. But that's how these artwork really this year. Yeah, the colorways will match. Everything will match on the website when she reboots it. So
very cool.
And the Sonicators will be on there too.
Oh, nice.
Those will be up.
That's wicked.
Yeah, those are pretty cool. They come with battery. They come with batteries. They're like it's a small one. It's encased. So we searched and hunted and found one that was like the where the fluid goes. It's completely encased, and then it has a small battery, a double battery that's tucked down on the bottom. So you can put about 200 milliliters of ISO in it, and it's perfect. And you do like your initial dunk, out of the slurper. Once it cools down, you just pour whatever your inserts are in there, stick the banger in there, and you can just turn on the Sonicator for maybe like 2-3 minutes. Just lay the banger in there and turn it on, and it cleans the whole entire thing. Does it perfectly. I've been using it for like 6 or 7 months, like just beating on it, moving it around. Gave a couple of them out, and now I think it's like I truly believe in them at this point. So yeah, we're gonna drop them on the website.
I can't wait to get one. I'll fucking order one up. I'll be the first customer. How about that?
I'll mail you one. I gotta send you some stuff.
I know, but then I can't support.
I'll send you a box. I got you for sure. Now there's how did you like the last box that we sent out?
I loved it quite a bit. What did you send, like this thing?
It was that, and it was the Carta. It was like the saber in the kit. Yes, that.
This is a great kit. Are you kidding me? This is like the greatest kit yet.
That's a great kit, yeah. I think we're gonna have
this thing for the pipe, for my pipe to sit on, to put the bowl.
Yep.
I really like this thing.
Perfect height.
Yeah, this thing's
remember that call that we had last week where we were talking about D-Nail with that new product, and they wanted to collab with that nail company that we were talking about. I spoke with that company today, and they said yes.
Okay. Okay, crazy. You know, I also reached out. I also reached out to that company today.
That's what she said. She said Marcus sent me an email.
Just like at 10 o'clock. Well, yeah, I think I sent her a text actually, but at like 10 a.m. Yep. So isn't that funny that we were both on that? Well, that's cool. That'll be another special thing to announce at Legends. That's a really cool. You know, we got some cool things, dude. I'll tell you. There's another group that I was talking to today. My buddy Chase. He does the Hashish app. You know him.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So this is an app that when you're making hash in the room, it's like where you put all your data. Oh, what time you started mixing? How much ice did you use? What your temperature is? What hertz are you washing at? You know, what your wet yields are of all the different microns of hash. So all of these different things. So it's a really cool app. I think it's like hashi.so or something, or like that. Terrible that I don't know the exact website. So maybe I'll just check real quick because that's kind of shitty when you go to hashi. Maybe you just, so it's hashi.so. Fucking not a bad memory there, old boy. Anyway, I was talking to him today, and this was actually something that I thought would be pretty cool at Legends. He's designed a sensor or a cable that plugs into your freeze dryer and sends you errors wirelessly on your phone when you're outside of the lab. So that is fucking huge. There is no freeze dryer app. There's people that lose their entire freeze dryer, like everything. They lose the whole thing because, you know, things like this, when the sensors lock down or freeze down, this is freeze dried hash that just heated up and boiled.
Right.
You know, that's like over a kilo of dried hash at $24 to $30 a gram wholesale. That's a $20,000 to $30,000 loss. Very big kick in the teeth. So this guy is, I'm hoping he's going to be able to get to Legends because there's going to be so many hash makers there to be able to have that, you know, and he's doing a subscription. So you buy the piece is going to be like $100, and then he'll have a subscription for the data, and they'll monitor, and then they'll also do updates. So eventually he wants it to be able to control the freeze dryer. He wants to be able to have the right uplink to the freeze dryer that he can control the temperatures on the shelves, that he can turn it off or increase or decrease the vacuum, you know, just have further control over these things that will be a really big game changer for hash makers. So I talked to him about that today as well. Yeah.
Oh, you know what I was gonna mention is that we have 2 more spots left in the Seed Breeders Lounge for Legends. So if it's a seed breeding company for hash makers, if you want to be at Legends, we actually have a couple slots left in the Breeders Lounge. Private little lounge area with DNA Genetics will be in there, along with the guys at Rare Earth Genomics as well. So
okay, geez, we should let. I wonder if Scott would have an interest from Rare Dankness.
Never know. I mean, it's really. I feel like it's like for us, our job is to make sure that it's a company that's breeding some milkers that people are going to be interested in, because then it's going to make more sense.
Dude, listen, that guy always bred milkers for me. Like that, his Ghost Train Haze is one of my favorites. That one is just absolutely ridiculous. I met him when he was the Moonshine Man. What's that?
That was a melty, very melty strain. The Ghost Train Haze.
Oh yeah, dude. It was a 6-star for sure.
I remember that for sure.
Oh my God. He came over to my room one night in Amsterdam. I was staying at the Krasnopolski in the apartments in the back. And it was like, you know, maybe 11 o'clock at night. And he was like, oh, I brought you your favorite. And he pulled out this jar of like 4 or 5 grams of Ghost Train Haze. And we were up till 5 or 6 in the morning. Like it was like a cocaine binge or something. Not that I've ever done a cocaine binge, but I've seen the movies. It seemed similar. We were just wired. It was like, let's go get some dips, you know, 3 a.m. out on the dam rack. Like, it was pretty great hash. I've done that too. So energetic.
If there's some wiry hash, that's definitely, but that's like old hash. I don't really take dabs nowadays I guess like maybe some of the sour diesel stuff, like some of the, some different like sour D stuff. I just ran into some fucking, man, some fire, feel good collabs with Stinky Farms that were just, I don't know. I never had no collaborations like those before. They're definitely smoked those pretty quick, but very good. Like sour diesel and some sherb mixed, and like some different weird things that were kind of came together very well. So,
right. I like it. Michael just asked, what did Michael just ask? This question's gone now. That's wild.
All right, Michael.
Oh, how do you like the terp sous vide for heating up slurpers? I personally like it. Heats up my slurper perfectly. Yeah.
It works.
It's like a nice even heat.
Put the inserts in there, put like your pillars and all your stuff and slide them down in there. It works. There's so many different
ways. Exactly. And it'll only increase and get better. I mean, talking to Buddy the other day when what he was talking about in regards to improving this system, he's not wrong. That is exactly like sort of be talking in cryptic means, but we won't be letting anything out of the box until it's decided to be let out of the box.
What's interesting is that like in so many ways it all just came together by itself. It wasn't purposely. But it looks like this year we're going to have a section where we do have terp sous vide, disorderly conduction, the guys we're talking about, and we'll have different. There's going to be different places because you need to have. I think it's a great idea to have. What better place than Legends, where you have a bunch of consumers that are smoking, that are dabbing on slurpers, on buckets,
exactly.
Then have the different set up so people can actually try all the different ones, and they could all kind of get a better
and see where people land.
Exactly.
See where they land. See what's the most popular, right?
We're going to do that this year, which is kind of cool. So we've got like, we got 3 companies so far that I think are like good for that, that we think purposely that are good for it, that we use the products, we know they work well. So it'll be kind of interesting. I think it's good. I think it's a smart move.
Dude, I got FOMO. I want to come. Trust me.
Well, just come.
Right.
All you gotta do is
shout out to. I know. I just got to cross the border. Just come. Just go across the border, man.
A shout out to who? Who are you gonna shout out to?
Bring some jobs. I am going to shout out Terry from Hash and Flowers. I'm about to. I like this guy's flavors that he grows, man. He's got some serious fucking flavors. I don't know who Poochie is, but this Poochie's papaya is absolutely like rotten papaya. It's so fucking good. Whoever you are, Poochie, thank you for doing what you do. And to Terry, thanks for growing it properly. Holy shit. You got this shit to express itself. It's so rank, it's so loud that it makes other things that you thought were loud suddenly quiet.
Less loud, yeah. Terry's
less loud.
Terry's kind of a legend at Legends.
Right. Yeah, he was laughing about it the other day. He was kind of like, he's like, I guess you guys don't want me there, hey? And I was like, oh, dude, I don't know. Like, listen, you did punch someone in the face. Okay, we can't, deny that happened. And yes, that guy pulled a knife on you. It happened.
Yeah.
This is the drama that we can't sweep under the rug. But I've talked to both of those guys, and I liked them both.
Yeah, I like them both.
But I really clicked with Terry. He's like an older dude. He's kind of got this less, I'm not fucking around kind of thing. And he's just like, I grow flavors. He's like, I grow flavors because I can't find them anywhere else. I just want flavors for myself. And when he says that, I believe him. I don't feel like he's talking.
His shit is fire. He's got some fire makers that he works with, and he's got some fire shit for sure. You got to,
Yeah.
All the face punching aside, stuff.
All the face punching aside. So I don't know. I personally am fine with him showing up at a Legends myself. I couldn't just smoke the guy's hack. But I'm also fine with Professor Sith showing up at Legends. I wish they, whatever their beef was, they would squash it. This is the funny thing about the beef. The beef never matters. It's not the point. It's like frequency or something that's just like opposing magnetics. And I've just seen it. I've been in it. Forget about seeing it. I've been trapped in it with people that were my friends. And so I just can't deny that, people always want to take sides and they always want to fan the flames and they always want to figure out who was right and who was wrong. And for me, I just don't fucking care at all. I just don't want people to punch each other out, and I don't want knives getting pulled unless it's like to cut the steak.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's like peace and love. That's definitely the direction. But yeah, it added some excitement to the event, but it's excitement that you could do without, I think.
I think so. I don't think it's something that needs to happen every time, that's for sure. But yeah, as Cannabis just said, sometimes a little face punching is warranted.
That's true. I mean, it's amazing what a face punch will fix too. That's it just takes a punch in the face. I don't really know the details of all of the situation that kind of went down, so I'm not sure about who's right, who's wrong, or any of that stuff. So it's kind of weird to be, for you and I to kind of look at the situation and be like, oh well, we see all this and see
I know nothing.
People
I know nothing. But I don't care. I like Professor Sith, and I really liked Terry.
I do too.
I'll smoke bowls with both of them, and hopefully one day, I'll be able to smoke bowls with both of them at the same time.
Yes, I like Jay, and Terry was definitely an interesting dude. He was very kind and nice when I met him. So, but and I don't really blame anybody. It's more or less like you said. One guy punched the other one pulled a knife on him. All right, well, and I think the guys that did the punching then kind of added to the situation, and I think they had to be asked to leave, and that's kind of the end of the problem. But it sucks even having to be that guy. Like, we're not there to do that. We're there to organize the event, have fun, smoke hash, try to make sure everything lines up the way it should and works out.
Well, we have to make a point one day on squashing their beef at a Legends of Hash, where they both sit down and it's just squashed. Maybe next year.
We'll see what happens. I'm not gonna bet the farm on that, but because I don't even know what their beef's about. It could be like something's really.
It's always about the same thing, dude. If that was my cut. No, it was my cut. No, that was my cut. No, that was my cut.
Yeah.
In the meantime, it was neither of their cut. So
that's what's great about it. I do hope that they do squash it, and I do hope it'd be cool if they did it at Legends. That'd be kind of rad. I'd be down for that. So, but yeah. Heck yeah, man! I don't want to keep you because I know you have serious things to do.
Yeah, I got to get going here. But shout out to my buddy AK Drone Pics in the chat room. He says, "Let's go to Legends, bro. I'll cross the border with you." He's gonna come down from Alaska and cross the border with me. We'll both be arrested together. No, I'm just joking.
Now you have an accomplice. This is what I like to see. This is perfect. I like it. All right.
7 more minutes. Let's make it a full hour. Make it a full hour. It's 5:13. We'll go right to 5:20. We're chill. We're catching our rhythm here on the Legends of Hashish podcast. We don't even know what it's really about. Me and Addison shooting the shit. We're going to interview people. We'll see how it grows and where it takes us. Ooh, sour berry. Did you know that's my middle name?
See, that's what I heard. That's a good to know. Yes, I did know that was your middle name, actually.
It's also my father's name.
Oh, okay. It's a great name, It
worked for him, He pulled it off for 55 years.
This is the Gary Payton crossed with the Diablo OG to make the Gary Satan. And then they crossed that into or they did that with the Sour D. And they made the Sour Gary. So
interesting. I wonder why they chose Sour Gary over Sour Satan.
Maybe because you want to keep it less satanic and more on the holy side of things. Maybe.
I feel that. I feel that.
I'm
speaking at the end of this month in Victoria at the Grow Up conference. My uncle's flying out from Winnipeg. I'm going to introduce him to Tommy Chong because Tommy's going to be at the event doing some award thing. I don't know what he's doing, but I just thought, you know what? My uncle's coming out. I'm going to take him to Victoria. Looking forward to it. We're all staying together with Rob from Happy Isle Cannabis, and it was going to be fun. If anyone is in and around Victoria, come say hi. October 1st to 3rd at the Grow Up conference. That's where I'll be.
Okay, that sounds like a lot of fun.
It'll be good. Then now it's shoulder season here. It's a nice day, and we'll probably end up at the beach. Maybe not, because we've got to go to the school. But eventually, it's going to start raining here, and it'll rain till till May or whatever. But it'll rain till the rain turns to snow in November, and then that's when the Whistler will open, and we'll go start the snowboarding adventures. I'm beyond excited for. Fucking temperature you hitting that card at, bro?
Oh, I hit my shit at 460.
Wow, there's definitely something wrong with my coil on this one because it just does not hit like that at all. What size dabs are you putting in there? Big monster one?
Big giant dabs. Yeah.
Don't you find the bigger they are, they boil and go into the splits and then end up on the bottom of your.
No, I've got this setup where I keep the pressure really tight on it, and then just hit it kind of slow and get a nice kind of slow draw, so it's not splashing and going all fucking crazy, and it works really well. I mean, you see that right there. You could take massive dabs on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
My
other one hits like that.
Well, here's the other thing I found out, and it's it's no hack on these guys, but it's more me. It's more the user, right? Where if I have these and I put water in them, I break them. But if I don't put water in them, I never break them. So I just stopped putting water in them, and I just fucking dry hit it because for some reason, if I put water in it, I'll fucking break it. It'll short out and I ruin the atomizer. It's fucking every time. So this is the shortest path to least resistance.
Interesting. So that happened one time to this one, but it still works, but it doesn't work the way it should work. Although no, sorry, I replaced this and it worked the same as the one I replaced it with. So I don't know if I did the damage inside the unit, but my other one hits perfect. The green one that Sam sent me is great. It is awesome. And this one's still pretty good. I still hit it. Just when I want to take a smaller dab. This is my small dab unit. I think I've hit it 1,100 times or something, so no slouch.
I've got the same one here, the Legends one, the White Legends one, which I barely ever rip. I think I have 8 dabs on it. And then the green one that Sam gave me, I think I got 108 or something.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, they'll be a sponsor this year. So Carta is a sponsor this year. They're going to be same spot they were last year. They got their booth. They want to do the same kind of setup as they did last year. They're going to they'll be doing a bunch of stuff with us with the gift bags and some of the award stuff.
Good. I need some bubble caps apparently.
Yeah. Oh, bro, this guy right here. I don't know who this guy is. You got a shout out to this dude right here. He makes.
Yes, I've seen those. He makes the best one.
This fucking guy. Shout out to that guy, whoever you are, my friend. You've done us well. I bought a couple of those. I bought one for myself, and I got one for my son for later. So. Hell yeah.
Well, 5:19. I think we pulled it off. We did an hour. I appreciate everyone for coming and hanging out. We got 99 people watching. Cheers, everyone. Have a good night. Bingo Lombardi. Thanks, Marcus. Bong Rip and peace. He says. I guess we'll do the same thing. Peace out. Thanks, Addison. Appreciate your time. It was fun chat.
Yep. Next
Always
week,
a pleasure.
We'll see you back here next week with Quality Swishes. So looking
Quality
forward to that.
Swishes. Me too.
Yes, sir. Looking
We'll
forward to it.
Bye.
All right. Thank you, buddy.
Peace out, everybody.